Access granted.
All right. What's up, everybody? How are we doing today? Hope everybody's doing good. I'm not even sure if my audio is coming through. Yeah. What's up, everybody? We got this. A little bit of technical difficulties on this beautiful Monday, but we got through them. No problems. I just had to move the thing, and then everything worked again. Jern, what's up? Welcome. Thanks for joining us today. Great to see everybody. I hope everybody had a great weekend, a great Father's Day weekend for those of you that are celebrating Father's Day. And I hope everybody had a great weekend, you know. Even if you're not celebrating Father's Day, still a good weekend. Good time to be out there in the big bad world of 3D CAD, making models, making 3D prints, doing lots of good stuff. Let me know if anybody did anything cool this weekend. I'm taking a little sip of my delicious beverage here today, trying to continue to wake up and embrace this beautiful week. The weather is nice outside, nice and shining. Lots of yard work getting done, lots of getting ready for summer, you know? Got to get ready for summer. Kids are either out of school or finishing up school. It's there's that special energy in the air going around, at least in this part of the world. So it's a beautiful time to be alive, that's for sure. We got James Norris in the chat. What is up, James? How are you doing? We got Dirtman's brother saying, "Hey Toby, thanks for teaching CAD and helping. My pleasure, my pleasure, my pleasure." We got Mr. Alex in the chat letting me know that it's okay. Things weren't quite working the way that I'd hoped that they would as we went to launch this stream today. But we were able to get through and get everything all up and running properly. So let's get into it. Let's talk about our beautiful Model Monday live today. Today we're gonna go through and talk a little bit about Onshape. I've been slowly falling in love with Onshape over the past couple of months, and figured I'd share with you a little bit about that love story and why I think it is an excellent choice for anybody who's looking to move forward and looking to change maybe their current CAD package, or maybe just looking to learn something new. You know, either way, it's definitely a good thing to learn about. We got Will in the chat. What's up, Will? I was out a little bit this weekend, so I haven't had a chance to check out your new run, but I will definitely check it out. Welcome, welcome. Dartman's brother said, hey, I made a Discord for our school and teaching. If you would like, I send you an invite. Sure, I would love an invite to the Discord. Send it over. I don't think I have a number anymore. I think I'm just TooTallToby-YouTube because they changed the names, right? You don't have to have a number anymore. So I think that's just TooTallToby-YouTube. Search that. You'll probably find my name. You can send me an invite on Discord. Cool. So today, because we started a little late, I think we're just going to do one speed modeling challenge. I got a pretty good one for you guys today. Some fun numbers in it. And sorry, ignore this 3D connection giveaway. We're not going to do that. We're going to talk a little bit about Onshape today. And of course, we're going to hang out with the best chat ever. So if you guys are enjoying this kind of live stream, this kind of educational, entertaining material, be sure to like, maybe add a comment, type something into the chat. Be sure to subscribe. Let people know who are watching they should subscribe as well. This is the best way to support this channel. There are some options for financial support as well, but we don't have to get into them right now since we're running a little bit late. But the best thing you can do really is just hit that like button. Let's get the like count up to match the number of people that are watching. And of course, be sure to share and reshare this episode. Let people out in the world know what we're doing over here at TooTallToby. Dartman's brother says, okay, thank you. Saved our school. Without you, we probably would not have a CAD program and got shut down at the end of the school year. Wow. Holy smokes, man. Thank you. That's a huge compliment, and I'm honored to have been a part of that. Anytime we can keep the schools running, that is very important. So thank you so much for saying so. And yes, like I said, send me that Discord invite, and I'll be happy to answer any questions your students have. Always excited to keep things rolling. You know, you got to keep that CAD game going at the educational level. So that's awesome, man. Send me the Discord invite. We'll definitely keep it rolling. Mr. Alex says, my kids are also watching right now for the first time. Okay, cool. Awesome. Well, thank you. Sorry to you and to the kids that today got started off on a little bit of a rough start. Technology was not cooperating, but we're all good now. Don't forget, if you're out there and you're ever in the market for some new computers, check out the wonderful team over at SolidBox, mysolidbox.com. They really do their best to make sure that they get professional workstations into the hands of professional engineers, and they do a great job of configuring that hardware for you before the computer goes out the door. So definitely a great partner to work with if you don't want to have to deal with the downtime that comes with managing your own hardware. You can definitely check out the wonderful crew over at SolidBox. Ryan Ellis is here in the chat. Says, I put competitive CAD in my About Me bio and my internship, and everyone asked me about it. Hopefully I sent a few people your way. Dude, that is awesome. Thank you. Yes, that's a great idea. Put competitive CAD in your bio. In fact, I'm probably going to be changing my title on the on LinkedIn this week, so you guys can look for my new title on LinkedIn, and it will also have to do with the wonderful world of competitive CAD. So that is awesome, and definitely a great way to differentiate yourself from other people who are trying to get the same job as you. If you go to a new employer and you say, I love CAD so much that I compete in a CAD tournament on Saturday mornings, they're going to know that you are serious about CAD and that you are the right candidate for that job. So that is awesome, Ryan. Thank you for sharing that. That's so cool. All right, guys, well, let's talk about Model Monday Live. And what we do here in Model Monday Live is we challenge the chat to take a 2D print and turn it into a 3D model. And so what we're going to be doing here is we're going to be telling you to calculate the mass of this model based on the dimensions in the 2D print. And your challenge is going to be to then enter that mass, and it has to be the correct mass, sometimes within a certain tolerance, into the chat in YouTube. So you're going to see on the 2D print, there's going to be a material density and then a bunch of dimensions, and you're going to need to use those dimensions to create the model and to calculate the mass. The basic rules are that you can use any 3D CAD package. As long as that package lets you input density and output mass, you can use any 3D CAD package you want. You do need to use a specified precision, but don't worry, today we're just working in millimeters, so it's just one significant digit, essentially, or however you say that, whole numbers. But sometimes we do have multiple place precision, and you have to match that precision. And the first person to answer correctly in the chat will be declared the winner. And the units that we use in this challenge are shown in the top, IPS and MMGS, where we ask for the weight in either pounds or we ask for the weight in grams or kilograms. And the materials that we use are plain carbon steel, 1060 aluminum alloy, and ABS. But you want to take a minute and notice that the density of the materials are listed here. This is the density coming from one CAD package from SolidWorks. But if you're using something else, if you're using Fusion 360, for example, well, then the density of aluminum, 1060 aluminum alloy might be a little bit different. And if it is, you want to make sure that you really get it dialed in and get it to be the correct density for this contest. So maybe you make a new material called TTT 1060 aluminum alloy, and then you use that material when you're doing these competitions. So Jordan says in the USA, but metric all the way. Yeah, today we're going to be doing a challenge in metric. And then the advanced rules are that this is meant to be fun and good-spirited. Along the way, I will make mistakes occasionally. I'll miss a dimension or something like that. And the Ivan exploit is permitted, although I don't think you're going to have a chance to use it in today's challenge. Now, a lot of times people ask me, what is the Ivan exploit? So if you're out there and you're watching, maybe you want to take a minute and create some materials that match these densities so that you're ready to go for the competition. I'll just talk to you real briefly about what the Ivan exploit is. And I think to show this, what I'm going to do is I'm going to show this using Onshape. So here you can see we're looking at Onshape, and let's say we were to take a look at a part like, let's just say we were to take a look at a part like this. So here you can see that I'm looking at this part file, and this part file does have a material assigned. So that means that if I go to the mass properties of this part, really not a part file, but just a part, you can see that the mass is 0.978 pounds, 0.978 pounds. Now, let's say that part of this design mandated that we were to create some holes in this model. And the location of those holes was specified on the print as being, or sorry, the diameter of the holes was specified in the print as being 0.75, so 3/4 of an inch. But then the location of these holes was specified as a certain distance from here. So let's say it's going to be at a distance from the edge here at 0.875 inches and a distance here to this point at 0.875 inches. So now what you'd have to do is you'd have to create this hole and then create a copy of this hole, or create the same hole over here at the same location, over here at the same location, and over here at the same location. Maybe what you could do is you could mirror that hole to get it into those 4 different locations. So there's a couple of different ways we could do this, right? Let's say we do it with a mirror command. So I'm going to take that hole and I'm going to turn that into a cut extrude, and that's going to go through all. And then I'm going to perform a mirror of that hole. So I'm going to say that I want to perform a mirror of just that cut extrude, and I want to mirror that about this plane here. And there you can see I've got the second copy of that hole, and then I could do the same thing up top here again. So I could go into the mirror command again, and I can say that I want to mirror that cut extrude that I created and that original mirror, and I want to mirror that about this plane here. Okay, so now we've got these 4 holes in this thing, and we go into our mass properties, and we see the mass properties is now 0.913 pounds. 0.913 pounds. 0.913. I typed that into the chat there. You can see my answer, 0.913 pounds. Okay. So now I'm going to get rid of that mirror 2 and that mirror 3, and I'm going to go back to the sketch for this extrude. And in the sketch for this extrude, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to make additional copies of this circle here. So in other words, I'm just going to take this circle here. I wonder if Control-C, Control-V works here in this spot. Oh, it certainly does. That's pretty nice. So Control-C, Control-V, and Control-V, and Control-V. So you see I was able just to quickly copy and paste those 3 additional locations. And I didn't take the time to lock down those 3 locations. I just kind of dropped them arbitrarily. So I hit the green check mark. Now we see this is what the model looks like. And now we go to our mass properties, and we pick the mass properties here. And we see that once again, the mass of this model is 0.913 pounds. So the idea of the Ivan exploit is, in this case, so this is the Ivan exploit. In this case, what we're saying is that if we have 2 parallel faces and a cut extrude between them, then the location of the sketch geometry becomes arbitrary, right? This is the Ivan exploit in essence. When you've got 2 parallel faces and a cut extrude, or really just any extrude, when you've got any extrude between them, the location of the geometry for that extrude becomes arbitrary. The location could be anywhere, and you could actually save some time by going through and just doing what I did here, just kind of dropping these holes anywhere. 1, 2, 3, 4 holes. Boom, cut extrude, ready to move on. And so that's the Ivan exploit. That's kind of the name of the Ivan exploit. And so what has happened over time is I've been challenged to create these challenges in a way that they are not exploitable. So for example, this model here, which was part of the tournament last year, this model here, you can see that it has these 2 holes going through the top of the model, but you can also see here that if we look at this from the front view, this angle is going down here. And so that means that the 2 faces that are between those, holes are not parallel. So the holes are coming down here. It's kind of a very light gray there on those shaded edges. But the hole, let me see if I just show this in wireframe. The holes are coming down there, and I'll just make it shaded here. The holes are coming down there, coming through that geometry. And you can see that the faces that are between those holes are not parallel. And so this model would be considered not exploitable, at least not in that location. So that's kind of my challenge as a tournament master, is to create models that are not Ivan exploitable. But I always show that rule, and people always ask, what is the Ivan exploit? So I hope that helps to explain what the Ivan exploit is. The Ivan exploit is permitted in these Model Monday live challenges. And so let's get into it here with the first challenge. I'm going to switch over to full screen so that you guys can see this thing. And basically what people usually do is they take a screen capture of this print so they can put it on their second monitor, or so that they can keep working while I'm talking through today's lecture, today's topic. So here we go with our first challenge, and this challenge goes live in 3, 2, 1, go. What is the mass of this part in XXXX? I don't know why I put .x grams there. Really just XXXX grams. Don't worry about the extra. Just give it to me in grams. What is the mass of this part in grams? XXXX grams. And the tolerance of this thing is plus or minus 1 gram. What is the mass of this part in XXXX grams? The tolerance is plus or minus 1 gram. And we are looking for this thing to be made of plain carbon steel, which has a density of 7,800 kilograms per cubic meter. The unit system is in MMGS. There's a couple of numbers on this print that made me laugh, so I put LOL on them. And you can see here that we do have centerline symmetry in 2 directions on this model. 2 directions on this model. We were going to use this one as a tiebreaker for the tournament, but we didn't need one. We didn't need a tiebreaker. And so this one is, you guys are the first one seeing this print. What is the mass of this part in XXXX grams? These circles that are on here, actually the center points of those circles are a little bit weird. Diameter 30 through, those should be centered on the larger radius 33. I'm just kind of noticing now that centering distance is really not being called out. So in other words, this radius 33 really should be showing like this. I don't know what's going on with those center marks. They're kind of all over the place. So that radius 33 should be more like that, like coming from the center. This hole here is concentric to this arc here. And that's the same thing in all 4 corners. What is the mass of this part in grams? So I figured, we looked at Onshape a little bit here as we were going through and talking about the Ivan exploit. Maybe we can look at Onshape a little bit more, and I can actually challenge myself to create this model, see if we come up with the same answer here as we're talking about Onshape a little bit. So I'll move this over. I'll take a screen capture. I'm going to use Windows snipping tool. I'm going to take a screen capture of this, and I'll reference this in just a couple of minutes when I get into the discussion of the wonderful world of Onshape. But there's a couple other things I wanted just to talk to you about on this topic. And like I said a little bit earlier in the presentation, I've been kind of working with Onshape for the past couple of months. I cut my teeth a long time in SolidWorks. That's where I really spent a lot of my career. And I think SolidWorks is a great piece of software, but I just see more and more on the message boards these days, people saying that they're sick of SolidWorks, they're fed up with all the things they're doing, they're really changing the model of SolidWorks. And, you know, I have seen that for the past couple of years and have been kind of wondering like what else is out there. And so I decided this year was going to be the year I was going to challenge myself to see what else is out there. And Onshape really came to my attention, really started, you know, with last year, Allness winning the entire tournament using Onshape. I thought that was amazing for a piece of software that's in a browser, that Allness was able to speed model faster than anyone else using all these different CAD systems. So that helped get my attention. And now looking into it this year, I've been working with the team over at Onshape. I've been creating some content for them on their YouTube channel. And I did a live stream. We did a live stream together on their YouTube channel. So this is the Onshape YouTube channel here. And we did a live stream back in, I guess this was back in the beginning of May, and it was called Multi-User Simultaneous Design. And then I took that live stream and kind of went through and made some clips from it. And one of those clips has been posted on the Onshape channel. But what you see in this clip is that Michael and I were able to work on, oh, I'm sorry, let me switch this over here to my, so you can see my screen here. So this is the Onshape YouTube channel here. And like I said, about a month ago, I did a live stream the beginning of May called Multi-User Simultaneous Design. That's this live stream here, Multi-User Simultaneous Design. And then I took that and clipped it into some individual videos here on the Onshape channel. And one of those videos is this one here, multiple users editing the same part simultaneously. And that video shows that we're not just able to edit the same part simultaneously, but two users working on this web-based 3D CAD software, which is known as Onshape, are able to actually work on the same part and add features to the same part at the same time. So I was working on the lower part of the model down here. In the case of the model we were doing, it was a coffee mug. I was adding fillets and things down there. And at the same time, Michael was working on the upper section and was adding hinge geometry so that we could put a lid on the coffee mug. And as soon as that happened, that was pretty much it for me. That was like, wow, I am totally in love with this software. Like, I can't believe that we're now at the point where two different users working in two different locations can be working on the same part at the same time. And it was just like, that was definitely one of those huge moments for me, seeing how that worked. And I encourage you, if you haven't seen that video yet, you know, take a look at that video. It's on the YouTube channel. It's about 5 minutes long. You can see, you know, you can see exactly what happens. You can see how in the feature tree, it shows Michael created this feature, Toby created this feature, Michael created this feature. Very clear, very concise, but definitely something that got my attention. And everything that I've been doing with Onshape so far has been using the free version of Onshape. So what I'm showing here on the screen, what I've been showing you, this is all the free version of Onshape. You go to onshape.com/free, and you're able to begin creating 3D geometry in the browser. Now, the catch to the free version is that everything you create lands in what's called a public space, which means it's searchable by anyone who wants to look at your models. And you're not gonna get any proprietary security from your models. Your models are going to be totally open. So it's great for learning 3D CAD. It's great if you have some 3D printing projects like this model here. I actually made a video about this model as well. This is a little cap that goes into a camping chair. I had a camping chair and it broke, and this was the part that broke. So I modeled it up in Onshape, and then I went down here to where it says Part Studio. You can do an export, and I was able to export that to STL and then 3D print it and repair my camping chair. There's actually a video about that as well on the Onshape YouTube channel. This one here, Repair This Chair. This is me showing how I went through that process of repairing that chair using 3D printing. But you can see that the software, the completely free version of Onshape is really helpful for those type of applications. If you just need to get in and create some 3D models and turn them into 3D print, or if you just want to learn the software. But everything that you make is going to be part of this kind of public space. Now, that's got its pros and its cons, but one thing that's pretty cool is that you can click here where it says public, and you can see some pretty elaborate models that other people have been designing. And so you can see when they were most recently modified, and you can see that Onshape does parts assemblies and drawings in the free version. But you can see some pretty elaborate drawings, and you can kind of get in there and examine how those models were made, you just click on the model here, and then you are looking at this model in this 3D space. So just by clicking on the model, it's like, boom, you're in. You're ready to start, you're ready to start working on that model. Now, right now, really technically what I'm doing is I'm just looking at this project. I'm not actually editing this project, but here you can see there's a button that says make a copy to edit. So this document is view only, make a copy to edit, and now I could start making my own version, or kind of picking apart elements of this design that maybe I need to use on my projects. Very easy to do when everything is just based in this web-based environment. So definitely very cool. I mean, even if you just get the free version and you just wanted to kind of poke around and see what other people are making, this is a great way to get in here and to see that type of content. I just think it's so cool that you're able to get in here and work through Onshape. But I made a lot of videos on what that process looks like on that, again, on that Onshape YouTube channel. There's a section here called playlists, and then one of these playlists is SolidWorks Expert Learns Onshape, ongoing series. And if you say view full playlist, I take you through my whole process, how I started out, signing up for the free account, when I made my first model here, when I made my first functional print, that 3D model of a little cap that goes on my firewood rack, my thoughts on Onshape. And this one here, the free training in the Onshape Learning Center, that's definitely one of the biggest things I try to point people to, is that once you get in here and you want to start really learning about Onshape, this is using the free account here. There's this button that says Learning Center that really lets you go through and learn about, Onshape. Really lets you learn kind of everything you need to know to get started, whether you're a brand new person to the world of CAD or whether you're an existing CAD user coming from somewhere else. Just a super useful self-paced training environment for anybody who's trying to learn Onshape. So with that, I figured I'd kind of merge that little discussion into my attempt at creating this model. So here we can see I've got this model here that I did a copy and paste onto the second screen on. And I'm going to kind of talk through my thought process of creating a model like this, and then I'm going to create it myself on screen. And so, even if you're not using Onshape or not using SolidWorks, even if you're not using the same software that I'm using, I think this will still be helpful, because regardless of the CAD system you're using, it's always the same process when you're trying to go from a 2D print to a 3D model. It's always basically the same thought process, the same workflow. So for this model here that I'm challenging you to make in the chat, and I see Will is our first person in the chat to come up with an answer. I don't want to say if it's right or wrong, so I'm going to let everybody else have a chance to answer it as well. But I think that what I would do in a model like this, and really any kind of a model, is first I would look and see if there's any symmetry in the model. That's going to help me understand where to locate the origin. I'm going to look and see if there's any, kind of common dimensions throughout the design or common locations. And I think that in the case of this model, the origin is probably going to be right here at the center of this main circle. And the reason I think that is just because the model is symmetric in two directions. It's symmetric about that location. So it just kind of makes sense. You also often will center your models. It looks like this might be, mounted on something with these four corner holes, and then maybe there's some kind of a pole or something passing through the middle. So I think that that's also a good functional location for the origin. And then as far as the origin location in this view, it'll probably be something like this. So I think as far as the creation of the geometry for this model, I'll start out by creating a shape that looks like either this or the full shape. I'll probably just do 1/4 of the model and mirror everything at the end. So I'll probably create that 1/4 of the model and extrude that up. Maybe I'll include this hole in that original extrusion. Maybe I'll do it as a secondary feature, but then I'll extrude that up. And then once I've got that extruded up, I'll come back from the front view and I'll create this curve here with this radius 420. So I'll create that curve across the top to kind of smooth things off around the top. Then I think what I'll do is I'll get in and start trying to tackle this feature. This feature is going to be a little bit tricky because it's got this taper on it at 10 degrees. So rather than trying to model it with that taper, I think what I'll probably do is just model it from the front view, and then I'll go in with some draft with a draft feature, and I'll try to add the draft here starting at this edge and then drafting down at the 10 degrees. Starting at this edge and then drafting out at the 10 degrees, because I have this 7mm dimension here. So I'll extrude it out to the 7mm, and then I'll draft it out from that edge with the 10 degrees. So it's always good to kind of come up with a game plan before you get started creating a design. It's always good to think through kind of the order in which you're going to create your features. And now that we've established that game plan, let's get in here and start creating this model. What's up, Ali in the chat? Welcome, welcome. Thanks for joining us today. What's up, Mohammed in the chat? Hello. One of our qualified runners for the 2023 tournament. Congratulations and welcome, welcome, and good job answering that question. Let's get into it here and see what we can come up with using the totally free version of Onshape. So this is the screen that it looks like when you log in. It's kind of like Gmail. When you log into Gmail, you have all of your mail listed there. Well, in the case of Onshape, when you log in, you have all of your documents listed here that you've been working on. Onshape does parts, assemblies, and drawings. And today we're going to focus on parts. So I'm going to create a new document here. We'll call this 22-T-99 because that's the number on the drawing title block. Ryan is here in the chat and says he's got an answer. Boom, well done, very, very fast. Top plane, I'm gonna begin a sketch here and I'm gonna get normal 2. And then following our game plan, I'm gonna start with my origin here and I'm gonna come over this way to a distance of 186/2. So I'll just single click there and type in 186/2 and let Onshape do the math for me. Then I'm gonna come up in this direction. I don't know exactly how far. I'm gonna come around with a radius here, and then I'm gonna come over here directly above the origin and close that thing off. Now, once again, I'm gonna let Onshape do the math for me. If I wanted to, I could create a construction line here and then do what are called doubled dimensions. So I could create a dimension that goes from here down to here and then get the doubled dimension. That's a common technique that I'll use when I know I'm gonna be mirroring geometry. So this is, this is something that you can use in a lot of different CAD systems as well. And then finally, I've got my dimension from this arc. Again, the doubled dimension technique could be useful here, and this is going to be at 190. We see the whole sketch is black, which is what we want. That means that the sketch is fully defined or fully constrained. And so now at this point, I think I'm ready to turn this into an extrusion. So we'll jump into our extrude command here in Onshape, and that's going to go to a max height of, I don't know what that max height is going to be. So I'll just type in 30. That's probably going to be enough, and we will find out in just a moment if it is enough. Because now we're going to select this face and begin a sketch and orient our view, and we're going to create our arc here, which is going to have a radius of 420. And this arc is going to have a dimension distance from here to here of 16 millimeters. That's shown in the front view of this print. And then the center point of the arc here is going to be vertical to this point here. And okay, good. We did give ourselves enough room for that geometry. And now in Onshape, when we attempt to do an extrusion, we can choose geometry and kind of include the solid geometry from the model. So you notice I didn't have to convert this edge and trim. I can just select right here and include that geometry as part of the extrusion. And this is going to be a cut extrude, and it's going to go through all. And there we go. That gives us our first basic shape. And I'm going to come over here to the bottom of the model, begin a sketch, and I'm going to sketch a circle for that hole. And that's going to be right here at the center of that other arc. And that circle is going to have diameter of 30 and extrude. Once again, this will be a remove, and once again, this will go through all. Now, for me personally, whenever I'm working in CAD, I think it's a great idea to rename my features. So this first feature here will be main base shape. And then the second feature here is going to be the top arc shape. And then this third feature here is going to be the corner holes. I think it's always a good idea to rename your features. It helps not only you later on, but it especially helps your coworkers when you rename your features. So definitely a good habit to get into if you're watching this video and you are a student, or even if you're an experienced user, still a very good habit to get into. Rename your features whenever you can. All right, now I'm going to create this shape looking in from the front, so it kind of comes out like so, comes across. We'll finish this off like so. I'm just going to drag these together. And then we're going to start putting in some dimensions. Maybe once again, I'll make this construction line here just to kind of give myself an easier way of doing the doubled dimensions. And I am going to include the hole on this one because some of the dimensions are coming from that hole, and it'll just make it a little easier. I could split them up in the features. That's another cool thing about Onshape. It makes it real easy for you to split up features in one sketch into multiple features. This is 220 to the center of the holes. Excuse me. So let's get rid of that dimension and try this again. 220 across the center line to the center of that hole. There we go. 220. And then it looks like the distance from the center of that hole to this vertical line here is just 12 millimeters. And the height of this is 32. And this is going to be, I'm going to just drop a point on here. Make that point coincident there as well. That is going to be 40, since this angle isn't called out. And then this is going to be 32. I think we're getting pretty close to fully defining this thing. 14 from this hole to here. And what's our final dimension there? 14 from our hole to there. From this edge here, kind of a weird location for a dimension, to here, 36. Wow. Yeah, kind of a weird dimension there, that's for sure. But okay, we got there, no problem. All right, and we're gonna reverse the direction on this, and this is gonna go to a depth of 7 millimeters. And there we go, that gives us that shape, and that actually should have been 7/2, right? Let's double click that feature and change that to 7/2. There we go. And now we need to create some draft, and I'm not as familiar with all of the ins and outs of draft in Onshape. So just to be safe, I'm going to start out by creating a new reference plane at this location. So you can see here that when I created this new plane, it's parallel to this existing plane, and then it's at that point, parallel to a plane at a point. So that's going to give me a new reference plane, and that way I can begin the draft from that reference plane. There's probably some other cool ways you could do it. I'm still pretty much a noob in Onshape, so still learning my way around. So the neutral plane here is going to be that new plane that we just created, which is right there at the tip of the, it's right there at the tip of that geometry that's going to be the 7 millimeter wide geometry, and then I should be able to draft out this way. So this line here that I'm sketching right now, that's like the plane that I just created. So that's going to draft out at 10 degrees on that side, and then I'll mirror it across. So we create this new plane here, and now we're going to say that it's going to draft out at 10 degrees, and it's going to be this face here. I love the way Onshape gives us that preview right away, just to kind of confirm that we got the draft in the correct direction. So we hit the green check mark there, and that is looking pretty darn good. It's giving us everything that we want for this model, I think. So let's do our mirror of that geometry. So I'm going to do a mirror here, and this time it's going to be a mirror of the entire part. So all I really need to do is pick anywhere on the part, and then pick this face as the mirror plane. And then I'm going to repeat that process. I'm going to just pick anywhere on the part, and then I'm going to pick this face here as the mirror plane. And now we've got our one final feature, which is just going to be a cut extrude with a diameter of 69, of course. What a great way to finish things off. And now we're going to extrude that. That's going to be a remove, and I'll make that through all. And there we go. And now we just need to go back through and rename some of our features again, just because I think it's a really good idea. Obviously, in a speed modeling challenge, you wouldn't really want to take the time to rename your features. Maybe you would, I don't know. But in the case of this model, I am going to rename these features. So this will be the side boss. This guy here is going to be the, a lot of times I'll name my features with the with a corresponding name. So if this is the side boss, then this is the side boss draft. And now that'll be, mirror 1, mirror 2. I don't really need to rename them. And then this one would be the main large hole. Hey, what's up, Rob? Welcome, welcome. Yep, still rocking SolidWorks tips and tricks, but also kind of branching out, trying out some other CAD systems. Definitely enjoying my time with Onshape. So figured I'd take today's challenge using Onshape rather than SolidWorks. See if I can get through it before we run out of time together today. So using the totally free version of Onshape here. So if you're ever interested in seeing what other types of CAD are out there, this one's free and it runs in a browser, so you don't have to install anything, and it's pretty darn impressive, I gotta say. All right, so now I'm gonna go down here to where it says part 1, and then I'm gonna do a assign material. And when it comes to your materials, I mentioned this in the beginning of the training. If you're doing a lot of these TooTallToby challenges, you might want to create your own library of custom materials. And like a lot of stuff we do on this challenge, on this channel, I'm trying to not only, teach you how to do TooTallToby challenges, but also teach you a skill you can use in the real world. A lot of times in the real world, you're going to have to create custom material libraries. You'll go to a website like MatWeb that'll give you all of the material densities and elasticity properties. But in the case of the TooTallToby challenges, we're really just interested in our mass. So you can see here that if we go into our mass here, we can select a material that I've created, a custom material I've created. And I'm going to choose this plain carbon steel that has the appropriate material density that we showed earlier. And now we can go into mass properties, and I can see that I'm coming up with a mass of 4945.3. So 4945 is going to be my answer. And Ryan says, I think you may benefit from not separating cut extrude and boss extrude stuff. Like the holes could be done in the first sketch, no problem. Yeah, that's exactly correct. Ryan's making a great point there, and he's exactly right. When it comes to, Onshape, it's a lot of times what I see the fastest users doing is they create all of their geometry in one sketch, and then they kind of one at a time pick those sketches, they use that sketch to create the first feature, then they use that sketch again to create the next feature, and use that same sketch again to create the next feature, and the next feature, the next feature. And that's definitely something that I need to get a little bit better at, is learning how to kind of do all that layout in one sketch. Still kind of a creature of older habits where I separate them all into explicit sketches, which, it certainly works, but I think it maybe is not only a few extra steps, but it also is going to make it a little bit less, obvious when it comes to editing, or a little bit less intuitive when it comes to editing. Like in the case of this sketch here, the hole that is created in that sketch, it has a direct impact on the location of the boss itself. If this hole were to change from 220 to 240, well, then that's going to change the location of that overall boss. So if I had created them in two completely independent sketches, it would be very cumbersome to go between them and to edit the one sketch and edit the other sketch, where if everything was all contained in one sketch, it makes it much more intuitive when it comes to making those changes. So yeah, I completely agree with your sentiment there, Ryan, and I think you'll see me doing more and more of that as we move through this journey of learning Onshape. Definitely trying to embrace that new methodology for creating geometry. James says, should have rounded my answer. Yep. All right. And C2I is here, says hi from Spain. And Chris says, I tried Onshape a number of years ago. Wasn't super impressed at the time, but it seems like it might be worth another look. Yeah, I haven't seen anything that really, made me feel like this thing isn't ready for prime time. I'm getting into assemblies now. So, my first, I just created my first assembly actually. So I'll show you what that looks like. I'm sure you're going to be very impressed. It is this assembly here. And so you can see here with this assembly, I've got a pin going through the upper lid, and I'm able to move them and have them come together. So, created my first assembly. It's kind of a cool workflow in Onshape. You can create your individual components using almost a multi-body design, where the components that are related to one another can be designed all in the same window. If I wanted to, I also could have designed the pin here, but I decided to design the pin in its own window. And these are just tabs across the bottom here. So I have the box, the pin, and then I have the assembly where I'm able to bring those different components together to create an assembly. So it's a kind of an interesting workflow, but definitely works and makes sense and allows you to create in-context references really easily. So yeah, I mean, it's been pretty good for me, I gotta say. I think one of the coolest things about Onshape that I like is that if you're working with people who don't have 3D CAD or 3D CAD experience, you can just share up here. You can go to link sharing. You can say copy to clipboard. And now I'm going to drop that into the chat here in YouTube. So there's the link to this document that I just created. And now if you click on that link in YouTube, it'll take you to this a very similar window. I mean, I could just do this with an incognito window. If you click on that link, here I am incognito mode. I'm not logged into anything. So I don't have an account. You can see up top here, it says create an account or sign in. And I can still open and close this lid. I can still rotate. I can still zoom. I can still, measure. I can take measurements. I can take section view. I can even down at the bottom here on this incognito window, down at the bottom here, I could actually click on these different tabs down here. and I can see the multi-body environment, and I can see the pin, even though, you know, I don't even have an account. I'm not even looking at an account here. So just when it comes to coordinating with other people, like if you're doing work for customers and they don't have 3D CAD, this is really going to make it easy for them to see, you know, the design you're doing for them and to give you feedback really quickly so that, you know, you can give them exactly what they want. Maybe even book a few extra hours. I don't know. You know, if they keep giving you changes, maybe that's more billable hours. I don't know. It depends on how your business is set up. But yeah, I think that's one of the more impressive things about this Onshape methodology is just kind of having everything accessible to everyone via a simple link, with them not having to install any software. It's pretty cool stuff. Like I said, I've been using Onshape now for a couple of months. I've been kind of slowly falling in love with it. I think it's a really cool solution as, you know, different CAD packages like SolidWorks. SolidWorks seems like it's trying to move into this new 3D experience paradigm, and, you know, good for them. I think it's great if that's what they want as a company, if that's what they think is best. But it seems like a lot of the users aren't really understanding what the vision is. And so, you know, maybe this is just a different thing for you to check out as well, as things in the 3D CAD landscape are changing. That's kind of how I felt, and so far so good, that's for sure. I'll let you guys know if anything looks a little bit wonky, but so far so good. Yeah, the rendering and FEA capabilities are available with Onshape. So a question came in here from James. They're not available in the free version. So if you go to onshape.com/free, you can see the product matrix, and it'll show you what's included with the free version and what's included with the paid version. And the rendering is definitely in the paid version. FEA is in the paid version. I don't know if there's any like little teaser FEA capabilities in the free version, but I think you have to get into the paid version to start getting into the FEA capabilities and rendering capabilities. Great question. One last thing I just want to mention here before we start to wind up and show the answer. I know we're a couple minutes over. Again, I want to say thank you. Thank you for joining me and for sticking with me as I had some technical difficulties in the beginning. But one last thing I just want to mention here is that we do in the world of TooTallToby, we do have the leaderboard challenge going on right now. A lot of people are participating in that leaderboard challenge. You can visit us over at TooTallToby.com/leaderboard. And where this is all ultimately leading is to the TooTallToby World Championship of 3D CAD Speed Modeling 2023. $500 for first place. You can use any CAD system you want. We've got several people here who are already registered and qualified for the tournament. We're looking to get 32 people to get this tournament started here next month. And you can see here the instructions and the leaderboard for June. I was out this weekend, so I haven't had a chance to catch up on some of these more later entries. So I'm going to be taking a look at these again here and qualifying some more people. But we are at 32 people right now. This doesn't mean all 32 people are qualified. There is a qualification process where you have to submit a video of yourself speed running some of these models. But very impressive crew so far. I'm definitely looking forward to qualifying some more people and getting some more people into this tournament. And if you're interested in that, you can click here where it says tournaments. We've got tournament FAQ listed here. We've got the World Series of Speed Modeling, World Championship of Speed Modeling flyers, and then the winners and the videos from last year. So if you wanted to watch the playlist from last year, the video, the finals from last year, or the year before that. Last year we had an Onshape user run the whole thing and win. The year before that we had an Inventor user run the whole thing and win. The year before that it was a SolidWorks user, both during the winter and the summer tournament. So very, very cool. We've had 4 different winners. We'll see if Allness comes back this year and if he's able to run it again and win again, or if we end up with a different winner this year. So very, very cool stuff. And I hope you guys, I hope you guys have a chance to take a look at that. And even if you don't participate, be sure to watch. We're going to be running those every Saturday, eliminating 2 people every Saturday until we get to the finals. And then we have a final champion. Check it out, TooTallToby.com/leaderboard. And I think with that, we are ready to take a look at the answer for today. Remember, if you enjoyed this video, if you enjoyed this live stream, be sure to like, be sure to subscribe. Very much appreciated. Goes a long way towards helping me get the word out. If you want to buy some of the softest shirts in the world of 3D CAD, check out the merch store. The TooTallToby Black Technical Tips and Tricks shirts are still available. We are running pretty low on our inventory right now, but there are still a few available. Check them out. You can wear them every day like I do. If you go to TooTallToby.com/tips, I do have a tips and tricks page set up on my website that'll help you to get the most out of the wonderful world of power moves by TooTallToby. It's basically just a link to some of the videos, but easier to browse and find the videos. And with that, let's get into our answer here. Let's see what we got from the chat for this answer. Roll back here a little bit. Looks like Will was the first person to answer 6,004 and then revised to 4,945. We got Muhammad coming in right behind him at 4,945 grams. We got Ryan Ellis coming in 4,945 grams. We got Mr. Alex coming in 5,705 grams. Very nice. We got TooTallToby coming in 4,945 grams. And let's see here. The answer is 4,945 grams. So good job, and congratulations to Will coming in with the correct answer first. Very nicely done, 4,945 grams. And most weeks I do have 2 of these challenges for you guys. Unfortunately, this week I only have 1 for you, but we'll be back next week. We'll give you guys 2 challenges next week. Make sure that everybody has plenty of practice before we get into tournament season. But with that, I just want to say thank you all so much. You guys are indeed the most amazing chat ever. Thank you so much for hanging out with me during this presentation today, during this live stream today. And if you guys have any of... oh yeah, the biggest mistake, forgot the big hole in the middle. Yeah, I almost did that as well, Alex. So Alex, it's so funny you say that. When I was auditing this model, I did the same thing. And I was like, how am I coming up with 4,945? I don't even see the hole. I don't even see what I'm missing. And I was just missing that giant hole right in the middle of the part. So it's one of those features that's really easy to miss when you mirror everything else. And Victor K is here. See you next week. Looks like I'm super late today. It's all right. I was late today too, Victor, so it's all good. And I hope to see you next week as well. We'll get into it again. And yeah, it's awesome. Well, thank you guys again so much. You guys are indeed the best chat ever. Very much appreciate it. And we will be back next week with another Model Monday Live. Sometimes I say this and then I go offline for a month, but I'm planning on being back next week at 2 p.m. proper. Hopefully we won't have any more technical difficulties. I hope everybody has a great rest of their Monday, a great rest of the week. I'll be coming out with some more SolidWorks tips and tricks this week. I'll be posting some Onshape tips and tricks on the Onshape channel. So be sure to subscribe to both those channels, and I will see everybody next week. Have a great week, everybody.